what and knocked them down? What? I couldn't imagine hearing that. Yo, the Prudential Center got knocked down, or Penn Station, that a plane dropped on Penn Station. You know what kind of damage that would do? You know how many people would die at one time? You understand? But as a young person, part of it was because I was young. But that speaks to maturity. This is also another thing that's gonna make you a hater is your lack of maturity, your lack of understanding, meaning that you're not able to properly understand what's going on in your environment and what's happening to you. You know what I mean? So, i.e., the whole culture of black people in police. I'm not saying there's never no cops that's wilding, that's on it, that's overzealous, and it might be racist. I'm not saying that, but the kind of people who want to scream that somebody's being racist, or the kind of people who be riding dirty, riding with suspended license, expired paperwork, no insurance, no registration. Yo, listen, my license got suspended and I had to go to court and sit in court, that's when I started understanding there's levels to being an adult. You start to really hear how badly people handle their situations or handle their everyday affairs when you have to go to court. Like when I've been to court for that, I've been to court for housing and whatnot, and get to hear how bad some people's situations are. Shit. Wow, last time I was in housing court, fam, this lady was talking about how basically, I think it was something to the effect that she had Section 8, and I think the building would just say, yo, we're not taking Section 8 no more. It was a crazy situation. Like a situation where, like, yo, like, you're not going to be able to get out of it. Matter of fact, I was listening to one person basically saying, all right, well, I'll just leave, and the person was going to have to leave the apartment. Like, fam, yo, I don't even like even talking about like repos, evictions, all that shit. Cause yo, between the repo and the eviction, those are the two of the biggest losses you can have, because you have to maintain your vehicle and maintain your housing, no matter what. That's when most of my money be going to, is maintaining the vehicle and housing. So why you gotta like the video and subscribe to the channel. Please subscribe to the channel. You understand? But anyway, let's play a little more of this crazy video.
Breaking fucking news, folks. Seems somebody just took a shot at one of the Fantafast's favorite 5-mile wide mouthpieces, Charles Chucklefuck Kirk.
This one says Charlie Kirk has been shot in the neck. Let me get a booyah. Now, mind you, you know, so all these people are unattractive, kind of ugly, or they look kind of dirty. By the way, you know that everyone that got on camera to speak does not have a good job, does not own a home, does not drive a nice car, and does not have an upward mobility when it comes to life and social economics and whatnot. It's the same thing. Also, presentation. No one that you've seen on camera on TikTok has presented themselves in a respectable way yet. They're laying down, laying sideways. You saw a bitch with a crazy bang, the goth bang, and the ugly piercings and shit like that. That's the type of girl that shave her eyebrows and show up and be all up in your face with no eyebrows, saying, "Hey, here I am," type shit. You got this one right here. You got this. Listen, one of the most offensive things a woman can do to me is show up in the world and not have your hair done. Leftist, liberal white women love showing up ugly. I don't know what it is, but they love showing up ugly. So she decided to stop what she was doing, right? I don't know if she was doing her taxes or what, or she was reading, the communist newspaper. He stopped his video so she could say this. All right. And you got this one with the nasty septum ring piercing and the damn bonnet on. Charlie Kirk got shot. I'm not saying she deserved it, but I'm saying God's timing. It says when you've been manifesting for it to happen, but it ends up happening to Charlie Kirk. He's always right. Okay, so there's no need to really go any further. So the reason why I went through these clips of people who identify as being left and liberal and whatnot, because I wanted to paint the picture of really the overall pattern of hatred. Because again, this is a behavior, this is a trait or activity that all let people participate in, which is if I don't like you, I want bad things to happen to you. Even if it means you dying, even if it means you pay the ultimate price. That man passed away. You don't know him. You don't have no personal ties to him. Your life was not it's crazy. The thing is, I can't hate someone who's never done anything to me directly or has tried to attack me directly. If I don't like what someone's saying, I just don't watch them. It's simple as that. Cause I'm like, yo, I didn't subscribe to Charlie Kirk. I barely know who this is. But the issue is that it's not so much even about him. It's about we're seeing this ongoing pattern of behavior that's become super prevalent in African American culture. Because again, at the very top of the hierarchy, in the social hierarchy, I keep telling y'all, it's black women with no kids, black women, black girls, black boys, and then it's niggas at the top of the nigga hierarchy is dark skinned men, because dark skinned men have the highest Negro credit of all skin tones, which means he can lie, he can just overall be shite. Like his black card is a black card. Okay, that's a bar right there. That's a bar. You know what I'm saying
Or gifts. And sooner or later,
her cookies
get crushed.
His black card is a black card. All right, so he gets more credit and more credibility. People also assume that he's tough. People assume that his hands work. People assume that he's very strong. All that shit. All right. See, I call that dark skin privilege. You understand? But that mindset, right, where we are mostly influenced by women more than anything else, and a lot of black men and women, your life is mostly because for the most part in the black community, the idea of family is pretty much is a black woman with her kids, not a black woman with her husband and their kids. All right, and we can get into the whole concept of women kind of carrying on with kids as if that's their property. And I shout out to Crimson Kirks. She's explained this before, where women see kids as their property, meaning that the kids belong to her. Whatever she wants to do with the kids or to the kids is okay, because those kids are her property. She wants to abuse the kids, she can. If she wants to ruin their life, it's kind of like dogs, right? People don't be thinking like, oh well, shit, I don't want to move over there, man. That's gonna be a bad environment for my dog. But some people who have dogs might think, nah, I want to be able to walk my dog in a nice neighborhood, right? I don't want to be the only person in my neighborhood who's curbing their dog. Curb your dog, right? It's just different levels of thinking. And what we've kind of seen is that leftist thinking also encourages pretty much this insecurity that you have to be constantly maintaining your individuality at all times, and that being an individual is that you find yourself by focusing on by having hyper focus not on your ambitions and goals and the work you're doing, but having hyper focus on your emotions and opinions, which leads to chaos. Again, the feminist mindset, right? And female leadership leads to a chaotic world, because we got a bunch of people who grow up not knowing that, for one, you have to grow up. You have to move forward. That's another issue too. I also brought up the whole thing about me being a kid and not being able to understand why my teacher, my ninth grade English teacher, Miss Hudson, she remember her crying, and she was showing emotion and showing humanity, right, in that moment, and I couldn't relate to it because I had developed that level of empathy and understanding in the world. Now I understand, but this behavior also comes from a lot of people don't realize you have not grown up. You have not matured. You still have the mindset, the maturity level of a 13 to 16-year-old. You still have a narrow-minded view. You do not have your panorama on. You're someone that you don't know how, like, when you see through your eyes, you can see from the right, you can see from the left. You people, and don't listen, when you're younger, you have a very narrow vision of life. It's like having seeing through a scope. And as time goes on, you stop seeing life through a telescope or through a scope, and start seeing life through the panorama, where I can see all the way to the right, all the way to the left, meaning that I can get all the information. So, for example, if I'm driving, if I can only see through a telescope, I can only see what's right in front of me and down the street. But when can see the panorama, I'm sorry, the peripheral from both sides, I can get the whole picture. I have more information. All right. And that's what maturity is. Maturity is making a decision based off of all the information and also what's right from wrong. I keep telling y'all on a daily basis, you have to continue to refine your ideas of right from wrong. Okay. And let me tell you real quick. Actually, you know what? I'm not going to go there. All right. So, actually, we're going to keep walking them down with the whole haters, the hater aesthetic and whatnot. We see enough of this right here. I see this clip earlier and I wanted to play it again. So, if you guys don't know, Drake's case has been dismissed for right now. So naturally, there are people online who are reacting. So Joe Budden had an interesting take. Now, I always have it's a few caveats with Joe. First of all, Joe is someone who is admitted to. He is someone who identifies as a crazy person, as an erratic person, the person who kind of just flips the fuck out, right? So he's acknowledged that's who he is. He's kind of built his brand. Like prior to making it in the podcast world, he built his brand off of pretty much, for the most part, being this rapper who's doing therapy through music and working things out and dealing with addiction and shit like that and having a high risk, sorry, a high tolerance for risk, right? That's the person